More job losses at Spotify. The latest from Podnews.net with Magellan AI, now analysing Spanish podcasts. Spotify has announced that almost 600 people, that's 6% of the workforce, will be laid off. It's unclear which locations or divisions are affected. Daniel Ek announced in a memo that Chief Content Officer Dawn Ostroff is to leave the company. Alex Nordstrom will take on the responsibility for the content, advertising and licensing work going forward. We also note that Spotify's careers website has removed all open positions except for internships. Buzzsprout has announced a podcast subscription tool. You can choose from recurring support or premium content. The company takes a fee of 15%. The Podnews Weekly Review has added the opportunity to become a power supporter if you'd like to see it at work. weekly.podnews.net if you want to see that. The top spender in podcast advertising last month was BetterHelp, who spent an estimated $9.1 million, according to new data from Magellan AI. JP Morgan Chase, a US bank, was the biggest new spender, spending $1.3 million. New podcast app Fountain and payment provider Zebedee have announced a partnership to enable pay-per-minute streaming for podcasters. Podcasters can earn money as listeners pay what they want to listen to shows, and they can top up using Apple Pay, Google Pay or a credit card, and support Podnews Daily that way too. Media company Global has published a report into news podcasting. It promises to explain why news podcasts are proving so popular, how they stack up against other news formats, and the best way to ensure success with a podcast ad campaign. Transom is wanting to feature one-off short passion projects. Producers will get a fee, distribution and editorial support and retain the rights to their work, even till February the 24th to apply. Larry Wilmore, a comedian and host of Black on the Air, is to host the 2023 Podcast Academy Awards, and former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has launched a podcast company. Quake Media will reportedly rely on Apple Podcast subscriptions for revenue, not advertising. And talking of which, thank you to Megan Ellingboe and to Kerry Donahue, who both became our latest personal supporters over the weekend. Our personal supporters mean we can be more independent in our coverage, and we're really grateful to you. If you'd like to join them, podnews.net/Patreon. And in People News, podcast industry veteran Jay Green has joined Soundrise as Senior Vice President of Strategy and Operations. He was at Audis's Cadence 13. Lovelyn Corbett moves from Kantar to become the company's new Director of National Accounts. And Brittany Bernardo has been named as Senior Director of Revenue and Sales Strategy at True Native Media. She was Director of Podcast Sales at iHeart Podcast Network. And in podcast news, a new show from the BBC, Buried, has revealed what could be one of the country's biggest environmental crimes in history, dumping almost 1 million tonnes of waste, some now toxic, near a drinking water supply in Northern Ireland. It was produced by Smoke Trail Productions and launched yesterday. Where's the oddest place you've had an interview? Sauna Sessions, new today, features filmmaker, speaker and curator Prince EA, joined by special guests in an infrared sauna to have long-form conversations focused on the mind, body and spirit. From a completely indie podcaster, Growing Joy with Plants has generated over 2 million downloads. A Webby honoree, features in the New York Times, Washington Post and Refinery 29, and got a book deal with Macmillan. The show helps people care for plants successfully and cultivate more joy in their lives by connecting with plants and nature. This podcast is sponsored by Magellan AI. Magellan AI has added support for analysing Spanish language podcasts in the US and Mexico. The product is already monitoring more than 2,000 advertisers. You can get a demo yourself if you want. Magellan.ai/Spanish is where to go. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe and buy me a throat lozenge, you'll find us at podnews.net.